Hello everybody, Scott here again. I'm here to talk to you about another movie I've seen, The Dark Tower. I saw it on August 22nd, today's the 26th. I'm a little behind on it, but I was on vacation and this was the Tuesday after I got back, like 2 days later, so was catching up on things, and The Dark Tower. Did not see it in 3D, I'll preface that. This is one that I wanted to see because the previews look pretty good. I like Idris Elba, I like Matthew McConaughey, I like this kind of movie. Where it's a bit of a high concept, but still grounded relatively well. And the idea was good. Like, the overall idea of it looked interesting. I'd never read Dark Tower. It was my mom's favorite series. I read the first graphic novel that Marvel did, Gunslinger, and it was alright. It's Jay Lee's art. That's an acquired taste. But this movie has been savaged in the ratings, and people just crap all over it. It only made 19 million. Sub 20 on this kind of thing is bad. When you see this, you think like a Narnia or a Lord of the Rings, Middle-earth type thing, or some big epic, and it should be that kind of thing. And it really should, but at the same time, not everything has to be. Sometimes it's okay being a lower level kind of thing. My brain goes to things like R.I.P.D. or League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And I know your mileage may vary, but that's not a bad thing. Not everything has to be the AAA, but this really should have been, by everyone's expectations. And I don't blame them for that. It looked like it should have been. The concept is there for it. The execution could have been, but it wasn't. And that's where we are with this. So, is it the train wreck everyone says? Well, I'm going to paraphrase what Stuckman was saying about it. His review, it's fine. And it is. I kind of wish I hadn't seen that. But it is very, not pedestrian, but there's nothing really wrong with it. But there's nothing really great about it either. McConaughey is fun. He's an acquired taste for some as well. But I liked him in this role. It was good. He was kind of cocky with a swagger as a sorcerer. That was neat. Idris Elba is amazing, as always, but he's a bit withdrawn. And you can see they could have done more with it if they had more time. But the movie's an hour and a half. And this felt like it should have been 2 hours. But it's still dragged. It was a bit slow, getting ahead of myself, but it was a long hour and a half, so probably for the better we didn't get more, but I like what we saw of him in it. The kid was crap. Child actors are a hard thing, and I mean, I'm not that great actor of myself, so I'm able to be like, oh, that was rough, that could have been better. The supporting characters from there, Catherine Winnick was his mom. She was fine, believable, good, pretty. I mean, it's Catherine Winnick, so, but she was good. I liked seeing her in the roles like that. Get her more stuff like that as like the mom, the supporting, and build her up. She's on Vikings, obviously. The stepdad, the people chasing him, the mystics, they're all forgettable. No, that's not a bad thing, but there's nothing great, like no character stood out or anything. No character stood out in a bad way like in Valerian either, so you're good there. What I can really sum this movie up in is the two first battle scenes were really dark. And I don't mean like so dark you couldn't make it out, because it was like black with some stuff kind of glinting through. No, it was more a case of, it was just like a gray filter was put on it, and it was kind of murky. And I could still follow everything, but it wasn't interesting, it wasn't exciting. It's the kid running away from a monster in the trees on an abandoned amusement park ride. And it wasn't hard to follow at all, but it was just kind of like everything blended together, so there was no sense of the monsters about to get him, because it was all just kind of flat. And that's the problem with it, was flat. The second battle was also at night. I'm like, oh, not again. But then something caught on fire and it was okay. You see the gunslinger doing some awesome stuff. Elba is really good. And there's a scene later on when he's attacking a base, and you see bodies as he's going through, which is a neat moment. Like, he's so good. It's just a foregone conclusion. But at this point, we literally were waiting so much to see him do cool stuff. It's like, don't not show it. But we did get an awesome fight scene in there. And when he is doing action stuff, it's great. There's some really cool, fun stuff. No inventing the wheel, but I mean, when he's flipping and like catching the bullets in the gun to shoot, or doing it on his belt and stuff, that was neat. It just felt organic the way it was happening, which is the way it's supposed to be with a guy like him. So that was really cool. I really liked that. I wanted more of that. And we did get another moment later on when it's just a duel with Elba and McConaughey. and he's shooting stuff and he's blocking stuff and it's throwing around. He starts reflecting off things, and it was neat. There's a bit in the trailer when he's like, I don't aim with my heart, or I don't kill with my heart, I aim with my whatever, all that stuff. And he does the shot when he's not even looking and shoots and hits the guy. There should have been a moment before to show, oh, he's doing the thing again. Like, to establish that. And then, once you've done this really cool moment, it never comes up again. So there should have been moments later to build off that. Because it has had a cool moment in the middle, which you saw in the trailer. There was nothing before. Like, it was an important time for it, too. There could have been a moment earlier where it was like, that. Because they were hunting, he got a rabbit for the kid. And there could have been a moment when it was like, and he got it, like to show it's a skill he can use. And then here it's a skill he needs to use. It would have been better for that. And then later on, show it where it's like, I have to use it in the climax or some kind of fight scene or something. Because, I mean, he shoots through a portal to rescue the kid, but it could have been like, it's a really tough shot. You got like, or in the middle of a fight. Like in the base I told you where he attacks him, there's this awesome crazy fight scene doing all this stuff. There could have been a moment, boom, and continue on. Like he's doing it in the middle of it. Little things like that. And the best way I can sum this up is the movie was good enough. But it should never be that. You always want to excel. A quote from the behind the scenes of The Incredibles had the producer saying, I just want to get you across the finish line. And Brad Bird's like, I want to get there in first place. And that's the dichotomy here. This movie got across the finish line. Not in first place. And you can see what a seasoned director could have done with it. Like when I'm thinking it, like you need this scene, this scene, this scene. When I structure my GPC movies, you got this, this, and this. And you end up with, I could have been better with this, could have been better with that. But it works the way it is. That's what this felt like. A seasoned director would have had little inserts here, inserts there, knowing what he needs, back and forth, and I feel like I've grown enough in my GPC stuff that the stuff I just shot last week is more like that, in tune with stuff that you've learned. I'm not saying that the director is not seasoned, but he's no Ron Howard, who was a producer, long rumored to direct it. He's no Steven Spielberg, not even like a Michael Bay, who knows you need the little pieces here and there to fill it in. It was that. I'm not knocking it. I enjoyed it. I fully plan to buy the DVD, Blu-ray. I will watch it again for the cool action stuff, see some behind the scenes. It was cool. It just wasn't everything that everyone hoped for. Now, I've never read the stuff, so for me it was cool. Saw it with Shauna, who had read the first two books in anticipation of this. The first book, she's like, I don't even want to read anymore, but I'll try it. And was borrowing the second, so I may as well. And knew that this was completely different. And there's elements of the whole series in the movie, which is fine. It was probably worried of the Narnia syndrome of we're going to make a couple, but we want to get to the cool stuff. But we might not make it that far. So they did put stuff in here. And also, King even said, like, the way the Dark Tower works is the Dark Tower story was told like this, and then the way it happens is it tells again. And the movie is an again version of it. So everything that is there, and then this is just it. So, cool. It leaves open for a sequel, and there's possibility there, but I kind of doubt it, unless they can refine things. There's still a TV series they're trying to work on, too, but I digress about all that stuff. That is The Dark Tower. I recommend seeing it. If you want to see it, absolutely do. If you are a fan of the books and want to see an adaptation of the book you read, you're not going to get it. You're going to get a version of the book you read, and a wildly different one as well. But if you just like action movies like this that are a little off, and by that I mean a little different, there you go. That's it. Like I said, I put it similar in where like Extraordinary Gentleman is, or R.I.P.D., where it's very basic, but there's a little skewed over here. We're going down this path, and this is what it is. And there's still a lot of enjoyment to be had, but with a grain of salt. I can see it as a future GPC, honestly. So there's my recommendation there. If you want to check out more of my stuff, Cyclops Scott, 2 S's, is on all the social medias, along with Guilty Pleasure Cinema, of course, the .com as well. Check all that stuff out. Thanks again. See you next time.